Does your organization need more nurses? Struggling to connect with RNs where they spend time? Budgets are tight, there's a scarcity of applicants, and using travelers can cost up to an additional $150,000 per year. It's time for a superior solution. It's time to work with the experts. Like us. Since 2019, healthcare providers throughout the US and Canada have successfully engaged and recruited thousands of candidates using nurse recruitment experts' three-step advertising, screening, and consultative process. We help healthcare providers reach further with their advertising, discover hidden gems, and mobilize the power of their employer brand in nurse recruitment. With results based pricing and no long term commitments, we are the most cost effective and low risk partner for your nurse recruitment needs. So why not take your nurse recruitment to the experts? Visit nurserecruitmentx.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Nurse Recruitment Secrets. I'm here with Max Armbruster, the CEO of Talkpush. And today we're talking all things AI and voice automation. I've known Max since Nurse Recruitment Experts didn't exist, and he was instrumental in me getting opportunities in the healthcare talent acquisition space. So it's good to have him on. And thank you, Max, publicly. So you're one of the reasons that this podcast webinar series exists. So could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and where you come from and what Talkpush is?
You're very kind, Adam. Adam started out actually his entrepreneurial journey in applying conversational AI to recruitment, I believe. Right, Adam?
Yeah.
So I had nothing to do with it. That was you on your own. You moved into my world, and maybe I was there a couple of years before you. But then you've had a wonderful journey since then, and then applying some of this technology to serve the need of a community, and that's brilliant, because while I'm building technology sometimes with a technologist mindset, like building tools just for the sake of the tools, because I'm just so in love with technology. Sometimes that can take me away from practitioners and speaking plain speak and offering services that everybody understands. So I'm going to try to keep it very simple. And I think for the purpose of this call, I'm not going to use buzzwords. I'm just going to say, this is what we're here to do. We're here to automate recruitment. And specifically, we're here to do phone interviews, to ask a robot to do a high quality, personal, warm and fuzzy phone interview. That's the problem that we want to solve with our new product. I'm the founder of Talkpush, as you said, and we've been in business for 10 years. We serve some of the biggest employers in the world, including some in the healthcare sector. We work with big companies like Accenture and McDonald's and a few, 7-Eleven, to name a few. But our newest technology is one that can use voice AI to call candidates and have a chat with them, and that's been the most exciting part of the year for me is seeing this technology come to life, because it's kind of the something I've been chasing for a long time. I'll say that a problem I've been trying to solve for a long time, which is when can we actually start calling candidates and give them a good experience, because phone IVRs have been around for a long time. When you call your bank and you're trying to get somebody on the phone, and you have to go through a lot of screens and decision trees just so that you can finally talk to a customer service rep. The reason why we go through this is because it's the chatbot or the IVR is not smart enough to make any decision. So that's why you want to talk to a human, naturally. But if you had a chatbot that could answer your queries, if you had an AI that could solve your problem, in fact, an AI would be a better solution than a human for a lot of these transactions. Like if you want to get something done with your bank And if you could get it done by giving instructions via phone, on using your voice, that would be a good service. The reason why we call for a human to jump in is because we can't get what we want from the AI. But I think that's what I'm describing is a reality which is soon going to be past. And today, the technology is available to ask the AI to solve problems. And in a recruitment context, that means to give a good candidate experience, to answer questions, to ask questions, to adapt, to think, and to end up with a recommendation on who to hire.
Great. And I think this would be great for nurse recruitment, healthcare recruitment in general, because of our experience where often, particularly in smaller organizations, you have people wearing a lot of hats in HR, and recruiter is just one of them. And sometimes it's difficult to pick up the phone, especially we're getting 10 candidates a day for some clients, and taking a few days for them to get back to the candidate. They've gone elsewhere and they've taken another job. So Rory McDonald says, sounds really interesting, would love to pilot this. Let's show Rory and everybody else what Max has created. So Max is going to initiate a call with me, and it'll be an automated interview as he's described it. Do you want to tell him a little bit more what to expect, Max, and then we'll demo your tool?
Yeah. Right now, I'm downloading your resume from LinkedIn, and I'm gonna add your phone number and email. So I have a resume. I have the Adam Chambers resume, and I'm gonna send that to. I mean, do you want me to share the screen to show what I'm doing on my end, or because it's very straightforward. There's not much complexity to it. I just have to feed the machine a resume and a job description, and then I can click go, and it does everything else on its own.
Well, let's see what you've got so people understand the back end.
Can I share my screen here?
Yeah, there should be a button to present. Can you see it?
Yeah. You should be able to see my entire screen right about now. Bloop. Are we on?
Yeah, that's it now. Yes, we can see this.
Okay, great. Great. So this is my my interface. So for me to interview you for a job, all I have to do is upload your resume, like I said, and then choose a job. So we said you said you wanted to go for a registered nurse position.
Yes. Before we start, though, I think our audience will have some questions, and because this is new, perhaps some doubts. How on the rails do my responses have to be? Do I have to, make it easy for the recruiter? Because often sometimes nurses are busy and they can't speak, or they don't want to share information. How on the rails do I have to be when I respond to this?
Well, what the AI will do when it receives the resume and receives the job description is it'll do a skills analysis for what are the key skills required for that particular position. It's going to look for those skills within your resume. If it sees that you've got everything required, it might ask you for a couple of clarifying questions or some examples to illustrate, to make sure, well, not to make sure, but at least to do a first level screening about whether this resume seems like it's actually yours, and it speaks to things that you didn't make it up entirely. But other than that, I suppose just like if a human interviewed a human, you could fool a human, and equally you can absolutely fool an AI by lying to it. It doesn't have a lie detecting engine into it. It may grade you a little bit lower. For example, if your answers are considered to be a little too generic and lacking specificity, you're not giving examples, you're just saying nice things, but you're not giving the interviewer any confidence that you went below the surface into the tasks that are described. So it might do a bit of that, but that's about it.
Okay, well, let's see.
Okay, I've been working to create your resume in the back end. Let me see if I have it there. Oh yeah, I've got to share my screen with you again. Sorry, right here, so people can see what I'm doing. Okay, we're on. So here's your resume, uploading it now. And I'm gonna have you interview for the nurse position. And as you can see, I've had some people who wanted to be interviewed for a zookeeper or for a head coach for the LA Lakers recently. It really doesn't matter what you feed it into. And one of the great advantages of using this generative AI is that you don't have to configure all the questions. You can just upload those two things, and it'll decide on its own what questions to ask. Are you ready to take the call, Adam? I can press this button here.
Yes. Just be quiet down there. Right, I'm ready.
Okay, great.
Let's go.
So the call shall be coming in to you soon, and I have going to mute myself. You can put yourself on speakerphone so everybody can hear what Sam has to say. Is she calling? Maybe we got the phone number wrong.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on speaker and answer.
Hi, I'm Sam, an AI recruiter from Talkpush. Am I speaking to Adam Chambers?
Hello. Yeah, this is Adam.
I'm happy to have the opportunity to speak with you. I'm calling you because you applied for the registered nurse, RN position at Talkpush. How are you today?
Oh yeah, I'm doing well, thanks. Just got off work and making dinner. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I'm excited to be speaking with you about the RN position. So I understand you applied for the registered nurse role at Talkpush. Do you remember applying for this position? Or would you like me to refresh your memory about the job?
Yeah, I've applied to a few recently. Could you remind me what it is?
So you're interested in learning more about this position. Just to give you a quick brief, the registered nurse role at Talkpush is a full-time position based in Northern Ireland, and it involves providing patient care, administering medications, and collaborating with healthcare teams. But I'd love to learn more about you and see if you'd be a great fit for this role. I'd like to take a few minutes to learn more about you. Do you have a few minutes to continue our conversation?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time, but I've got a few minutes, yeah.
Before we proceed, I just want to let you know that our conversation will be recorded for recruitment purposes and to analyze the information. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, no, that's fine, yeah.
Actually, I'm Sam, not Tanya, but that's okay. So just to confirm, you're comfortable with our conversation being recorded for recruitment purposes?
Yeah, that's fine, Sam.
Great. Thank you for your understanding. Now, let's dive into the questions I have for you. Your CV indicates extensive experience in recruitment and marketing, but it doesn't mention direct patient care or clinical experience as a nurse. Can you elaborate on any clinical experience you have, if any?
Oh yeah, I left that off. So 5 years ago, I was a CNA, and I was working at a nursing home. I did meds, looking after the residents whenever the nurse wasn't available, and checking people's vital signs if they were moved into the urgent unit. Just a bit more sort of general stuff like that.
Noted. So you have some experience as a CNA, which is great. You mentioned you did meds, which is relevant to the RN role. That's helpful to know. Now, let's move on to the next question. The job description requires a current state licensure as a registered nurse. Do you currently hold, or are you in the process of obtaining RN licensure in Northern Ireland?
Well, yeah, so I don't have it right now. I'm in my final year of university. Is that a problem? Are they hiring now, or do I have to wait until I've graduated?
Understood. So you're currently in your final year of university, working towards becoming a registered nurse. That's great. The licensure is a requirement for the role, but we can discuss the timeline further. Let's move on to the next question for now. The RN role involves administering medications and monitoring for side effects. Do you have any experience or training in medication administration?
Yeah, as a CNA, I did that.
Great. So you have experience with medication administration from your CNA role. That's helpful. Now let's talk about your career transition. How do you plan to transition from your current career in recruitment and marketing to a clinical nursing role, given the significant differences in responsibilities?
Oh, that's a good question. Not really sure about that. Well, I'm in college at the moment, so I'm hoping that I'll have learned enough through the course to have got the qualifications.
That's a great step. Pursuing your education and gaining the necessary qualifications is definitely a good start. It's understandable that you might not have a clear plan just yet, but it's good that you're thinking about it. Finally, the position requires physical tasks like lifting patients and standing for long periods. Are you prepared for these physical demands?
Yeah, I go to the gym every day and can do 10 push-ups in a row.
That's great. That's great to hear that you're physically active and have a regular gym routine. Being physically fit will definitely be helpful in this role. Well, I think that's all the questions I had for you, Adam. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. Do you have any questions for me about the company or the position?
Yeah, do you have any, well, how can I find out the pay? When would I find that out? It wasn't on the ad.
I'm glad you asked. The pay details will be discussed later on in the hiring process, typically during the interview with the human recruiter, or when we extend an offer to you. We'll make sure to provide you with all the necessary information about the compensation package at that time. Don't worry, you'll have all the details before making any decisions. A human recruiter will reach out to you as soon as we have news about your application. And if everything goes well, we'll move forward with the next steps. I wish you the best of luck in your job search. Have a great day.
Thank you. All right, there you have it, everybody. That's pretty novel, and I like how I reacted to some of my my comments.
Blatant lies. Your blatant lies.
Yeah.
I could tell you weren't speaking the truth when she said if you did something and you said yes, I did the thing. You said yes.
Then I don't go to the gym every day.
No, I do believe you can pull off 10 push-ups, but yeah, I don't know. She had a technical question, and you kind of answered shortly, saying, "Yeah, I've done that. I can do that." Or I don't remember what the question was.
Yeah, we see a lot of interviews we do. People do give short replies. Whenever I did that, is it checking the resume, or how does it report that back, that response?
Well, I'm going to answer that question by showing you what Sam thought of the interview. I've just received the report from Sam from your interview for the position. Drum roll. It looks, I'm afraid, as you can see on the screen, that you only scored a 2 out of 5. So Sam was not convinced with your ability to start as a nurse. So I'll jump to so there's a few things. It does give you good grades on physical fitness. So I think that's the most important thing, personally.
Nice.
But did highlight lack the sufficient registered nurse licensure and have not completed the education. coming from a different field, lack of transition plan. Yeah. I would have given you a 3 personally, but I still I think it's still pretty, I think it's pretty spot on. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I was trying to give a mix of answers, so it's really summarized them quite well. And I wasn't trying to sort of get the rule. It seems like it's wheedled that out quite good too. So I think it's pretty impressive the way it made the judgment based on the answers too.
And again, I did not, I literally uploaded the job descriptions, seconds before the call. I didn't say I'm interested in clinical experience or certification or whatever. It made this judgment purely on the job description that it was fed. It decided what questions to ask, and everything was kind of decided on the spot. So I guess it's not anyway. I think it's cool just because it doesn't require a ton of setup work from that angle, and I want to invite people who want to try it out to come to our website, because we launched this service yesterday, and it's free. So you can do your first, every month you can do 10 interviews totally free of charge. And if you want to do more than that, you just pay a little bit with a credit card, and you can get Sam to work for you. So yeah, thanks for posting the URL here, talktosam.ai, and people can experiment with it, and it can handle short or more long form interviews.
Yeah, I've put the link in the chat, and you can see it. Talk to Sam AI on the screen, and I think this would be a good use case for reactivation campaigns. A lot of providers have so many nurses in their database that they're not speaking to. Beyond just recruiting new applicants, there's many things that this could be applied to. So if you're listening and you were interested at all by the opportunity to engage your candidates or database automatically with a voice call, just check Talk to Sam AI, and you can try it as Max says, for free.
What would you what was your sentiment as a candidate? I mean, you don't have to spare my feelings. I'm trying to make Sam better.
Yeah. So I liked how it said it was AI at the beginning. It wasn't trying to trick me into thinking it was a human. Maybe I felt it would be better if it could. I'm not sure if it did this, but it didn't stick with me. If it could explain more why this is an AI call instead of a human call at the start.
Okay, yeah.
That way, my expectations would be set quite early. I think because I didn't have a lot to respond, it was able to interpret what I said pretty well and get it down and mark it for you. Maybe I felt a little bit like I couldn't go too far off on a tangent because I hadn't spoken to AI like this before. Maybe internally I was thinking, what's the right thing to say more than I would if it's a human. So I think that's something that.
You felt you were a little bit more tense as a response.
Yeah, a little bit more. Just it was almost like a different side of my brain was being activated. But it didn't want me to stop having the conversation. It's made me, think differently. I think if one of them called me and it was for something that I cared about, like a job that I really wanted, I would definitely go with the conversation. So I liked it.
By the way, one of the advantages of this technology is that, just like you can read a resume and a job description very fast, it could also read an employment contract or benefits or an employee manual. So I think, nurses are particularly busy individuals, often with juggling family and work responsibilities and strange shifts. And and in that environment, if you're transitioning from one job to another, you got a job offer, and I don't know if you've come across this, Adam, but I suppose there'd be a certain share of people who they want to change jobs, but they get cold feet at the last minute. Where they're like, oh, you know
Yeah.
what, it's just too much trouble. I'm just going to stay where I am because I'm better with the devil that I know. And to give them that little nudge might be a call to say, look, I'm here to answer any questions you may have on our policies, on the contract, or anything whatsoever, and you can ask me anything you want, because we're waiting for you to come through our doors tomorrow. And we can set it up that way too. So it doesn't have to be in this sort of, you're being screened for a job, or it could be configured in a much more warm and informative setup like that.
Yeah, because I remember we did a webinar once. It was called Think Like a Marketer. And it would be great as a user if I logged into SAM and it said, what purpose do you want to use SAM for today? One of them is follow-up calls to re-engage database. And if I chose that, it would perhaps suggest a script, it would say at the start, which reminds people of what the employer is offering right now.
Right.
Because we found that helps people remember what the job is and want to continue the call. So
yeah, for the time being, I mean, that will be a huge use case, but for the time being, we prefer to take on customers who are dealing with incoming candidates rather than re-engaging old ones, because obviously that's much harder. And I think, anybody who has done sales before, or recruitment for that matter, would recognize that the hardest part of any phone call is the first 30 seconds when you're trying to situate the conversation and establish contact and build rapport in a short amount of time. That's what good salespeople do. And that part is hard for a human and definitely for an AI. And so if we can eliminate that problem by strictly focusing on what's the great benefit here, it's somebody applies for a job, they can get a call back immediately. So obviously they know I just applied for the job, but they can also get the option, an SMS and an email saying, I'm ready whenever you want. Just press here and we'll call you. We'll call you within a few seconds. And then that kind of answers the question you had, Adam, about, well, why is an AI doing this? Well, an AI is doing it because it's available 24/7 at the press of a button on demand. And that's a convenience that consumers expect from most things in life today.
I see. So I know that there's other tools out there that would have a human to do it, but they're much more expensive, obviously, and more labor intensive. Or why would this be a better option than packing a room full of recruiters to try and call them as soon as they see them?
I mean, the cost element is we're not gonna mention. The other elements are the AI does not say anything offensive ever. It has guardrails. It does not have a preference for any group. It does not have a greater ability to engage with a Caucasian Caucasian male than it does with an Indian female. It has no preference of that sort. It just gets the job done in terms of collecting the information it needs. It does not need to go through shortcuts that we go through as humans when we interact with people that look like us, sound like us, etc. So it is much more reliable and fair. It is also infinitely knowledgeable. We took an example of a registered nurse. We could have equally interviewed you for a nuclear physicist position, and Sam wouldn't have lost a beat. She'd be like, "Yeah, no problem. I know how to interview a nuclear physicist." So it is much more. It can go much deeper than the average human because it is built on thousands of years of text content. It's fast. We said it's cheaper, and it's also very, very patient. So if you had been interrupting the call, you know, five or six times with your dog barking, or can you give me a minute, or can, you know, this and that, I mean, the AI would have kind of been patient with you and wouldn't have lost its patience. It wouldn't have been like, yeah, come on, which is what I would have done. So I think that could be also an improved candidate experience.
Yeah. No, I've had a few of those. Sometimes I've been the one with the barking dog. Is there anything else that you want our listeners or viewers to know about Sam before we go, Max?
Well, the proof is in the pudding. I hope they like what they heard. Obviously, a lot of things can be changed. I give you an American voice because I know you've got a big American audience, but we could make it sound like anyone, or like you. We could record your voice and make it sound like you, Adam, with just a couple of minutes of audio training. So there's a lot of flexibility with that technology. So please reach out, and if you want to experiment and play around, you can go to talktosam.ai, and it's free to start. So that's it. That's my message out there is, you know, bring in Sam to your team, and make Sam your own.
Great. So talk to Sam.
Thank you, Adam, for bringing me to your audience and giving me a chance to show this new toy we built.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'd love to have another go where I'm a bit more random and push it to its limits. And I recommend everyone to check it out and at the very least see where technology is going, because Max is really at the forefront of bringing this into recruitment. And as these tools become more prominent across society, it will become more developed and commonly used within recruitment. So it's good to keep on top of it. Thanks very much, Max. Talk to you soon.
My pleasure. Talk soon.
Bye.